Too bad about Gaspar.
I cannot hope to finish the research alone. I persuaded Gaspar to pursue all.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Did I hear someone complain about the riddles being too easy?
Let's think this through. There are 9 alcoves, a fresco in each. That's 3 groups of 3 frescoes.
The riddle mentions 3 guides above the travelers. We must examine the frescoes, seek answers there.
I'll advise you about the riddle, but I will not take part in disarming the device. I've got a bad feeling about this. I persuaded Gaspar to pursue
we have a few
all this.
more of Der Henna surprises for unwanted.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
What do you think of the first verse?
I would say it describes a serpentine dragon swallowing its own tail, which represents infinity and thus time. The hourglass likewise symbolizes time. In this case, the time of the traveler's journey.
I believe it's the dragon constellation. It would be visible at night. What's more, sources on alchemy invariably portray dragons as winged, and as an accomplished alchemist, Der Henna would also be a competent astrologer. The verse must refer to the constellation.
In alchemy, the winged serpentine dragon represents prime matter, an essential component in the process of alchemical transformation. The verse seems to indicate the allegory illustrating that transformation.
Can someone remind me how the line was worded?
The first verse was, "At night they trailed a drake serpentine."
What do you think of the first verse?
I would say it describes a serpentine dragon swallowing its own tail, which represents infinity and thus time. The hourglass likewise symbolizes time. In this case, the time of the traveler's journey.
I believe it's the dragon constellation. It would be visible at night. What's more, sources on alchemy invariably portray dragons as winged, and as an accomplished alchemist, Der Henna would also be a competent astrologer. The verse must refer to the constellation.
In alchemy, the winged serpentine dragon represents prime matter, an essential component in the process of alchemical transformation. The verse seems to indicate the allegory illustrating that transformation.
It should be the dragon constellation.
I shall take that one.
What do you think of the second verse?
To my mind, it speaks of the white rose, symbol of the order of the flaming rose. You see, the fresco itself resembles a coat of arms, and in heraldry silver is rendered as white. So the silver lady and white rose are one and the same.
I think it describes the full moon. In alchemy, the moon represents both silver as a metal and the feminine element.
The order remains largely unknown in the south, so the White Rose seems unlikely. Every Nilfgaardian, on the other hand, has heard of the Imperial Nausicaa Brigade, which has the Death's Head as its symbol. The brigade's name is female, and they say death follows the unit. So the Silver Lady could very well be Nausicaa or the Death's Head.
It's the skull, or at least it should be.
Allow me.
What do you say to the third verse?
It describes the precipice, the ravine amidst mountains. An ancient rule in alchemy states, as above, so below. The vault is the ravine into which the riches of the mountain flow.
We must read the third line literally. To me, it suggests the Mahakam Mountains and its mines, from which dwarves and gnomes extract many ores that are invaluable to alchemists. Those mountains are a vault in and of themselves.
The verse is not literal. In many legends, towers are in fact vaults, which the hero must penetrate in order to rescue an imprisoned princess or find a long-concealed magic item. The mountain vault is the tower.
It's gotta be the ravine. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will.
Wandering. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Everything seems to suggest the allegory of alchemical transformation.
I shall take that one.
I think it's the full moon.
Allow me.
A group of
It must be the white. The mine. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will. Another combination.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Everything seems to suggest the allegory of alchemical transform...
I shall take that one.
It must be the White Road.
Allow me.
The verse describes the tower, I'm sure. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will. Try another combination.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
It should be the Dragon constellation.
I shall take that one.
It's the skull, or at least it should be.
Allow me.
Mine entrance in the mountainside. That seems logical. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will.
Take that.
Too bad about Gaspar.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
It should be the... I think it's
allowed.
The verse Let's see if we can solve this.
Count me out. I want to...
As you will.
finish the research alone.
Everything's...
Wandering through the dark, 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
It should be... I think it... The verse describes the tower, I'm sure. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will.
Intruder detected.
No!
Our expedition has grown thin. Such a shame. I actually found those 2 amusing.
Shut up. A golem? So Derhenna's legend is true?
It is no more than an obedient machine created to follow orders and kill. Not unlike our Witcher.
So I guess we should get along famously.
You? What do you know about golems?
I don't run into them in every forest, but any good bestiary describes golems at length, and I've read more than my share of those.
Geralt, I'm not questioning your knowledge, but I should be the one to...
Actually, you are questioning my knowledge. Listen, I know what I'm doing. I'll try to get it to reveal the word that'll deactivate it, or I'll just mess with its head. Break the code.
So now we've got a burglar in our midst. Be my guest. Try.
My intentions are good.
As are mine. Know, however, that this may change.
Derhenna must have been pretty lonely if he gave you eloquence.
The Master made me a guardian. Nothing less, nothing more. And you, provided you stand there, are a guest.
So you're aware you're an automaton?
Do we really know who we are, where we came from, and where we are headed? Is human life predictable in that the cycle of birth and death ensnares it, better than mine? When a human is born, he is obedient to his parents. Later he listens to tutors, masters, corporals. Finally he succumbs to the will of death.
And to think that Adalbert questioned Derhenna's mastery. You're far more self-aware than a typical golem. Can you make sovereign decisions?
The Master made me the way I am, because long discussions were to his liking. I can make decisions, within my program, of course.
So you decide who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Who else would? Guests chat innocuously, exerting no pressure. All others are intruders.
Has anyone tried to enter before?
I recall no intruders. I do, however, remember guests who left after being warned.
When was that? What did you discuss?
I am a machine. My memory is limited.
I have other questions. Did your creator give you a name?
I'm called obedience and unyielding persistence. I am a guardian and the humblest of servants.
A golem's name is the word that gave it life, and that can take it away. You must have a name.
I own nothing. Everything belongs to my master. How could I divulge the name if I exist solely to protect my creator's property?
Do you remember your creator?
Of course. I was summoned into being by Master Derhenna. I abide by his will, by his power, by the necessity encased in my stone bowels.
Derhenna is dead.
His word, which animates me, lives on, as does his legacy, which I protect. Empires will rise and fall, rivers will shift their courses, but I will remain obedient to one master on my eternal watch.
Derhenna must have been an exceptional man. Can you tell me about him?
I guard everything that belonged to the master, including his privacy, which he valued highly. I can tell you nothing.
Can I ask you for the name word which brought you to life and which can deactivate you?
Do that, and I shall consider you an intruder.
You're not an automaton. You're self-aware, and you think. You can make decisions.
You're wrong. I am eloquent and can discern between guests and intruders. I can also deal with the latter. But everything I say and do is limited by my restrictive program. By the way, as an automaton, I am immune to all charms. Stop the intruders.
Take that.
Let's have a look. This is better than I'd hoped.
A great success for Nilfgaard, this mission.
Maybe you'll get that promotion.
History. Derhenna describes finding Derhenna's notes from a trip he took to Zerrikania. Derhenna mentions some bacteria strains.
Can you feel that?
My medallion's vibrating.
Another masking illusion. I'll try to disperse it. Later Elorn. Lisa Elorn. Later, dear!
The device. What is it?
You've done your job. You'll be paid and...
Paid like the scholars were? They died once they were no longer useful.
They were never useful, but Cynthia insisted. Fortunately, they were so kind as to remove themselves without my help.
I'm not about to be that kind.
Adelbert, you know what you're to look for.
Yes, Ma'am.
It's a prototype megascope. I didn't know it had survived.
What's it do?
The artifact detects an emotional bond with a person. Its user need only focus on that person and the device will establish a connection.
Great tool for a spy.
Yes.
Time you fulfilled your end of the bargain. What do you know about my past?
You were a rider of the Wild Hunt. I read the reports.
Don't the Nilfgaardians have anything better to do than write reports about witchers?
Not about witchers. About you. You are the sole person to have been a member of the host, and survived.
I was sure you'd try to cheat me. Gotta admit I was wrong.
You were sure and you came with us anyway.
I was curious. I wanted to see what Nilfgaard was after.
Your payment. You were well worth the coin.
I wonder where we'll meet next. What it'll be like.
Who knows? Perhaps we'll be allies once more.
Renounce magic, I tell you! Shatter your towers and crystal balls! Break your wands!
Interrex John Natalis.
Prepare for your final lesson.
Final? But...
I'll have no discussion.
Medallion's telling me something.
way!
Say goodbye to life! Never seen anything like that in my life! For the kingdom!
Guess I'll never learn.
Your Majesty.
I've waited long for this meeting. You left Redania so suddenly I had no chance to give you the send-off you so richly deserved.
Your Majesty, I fail to understand why I have been arrested. I've done nothing but serve Redania's interests, supporting the rebellion, undermining Henselt, risking my own reputation on your behalf.
I'm no longer the little boy who believed your every word.
Why do you do this, Radovid? I was there at your most trying hours. Without me, you would not be the man you are. I don't understand.
You understand very well. You conspired against my father Vizimir, and against me. The entire Redanian court once trembled in fear of Philippa Eilhart.
Untrue, sire. You must let me explain. What are your charges, Your Majesty?
Ambassador.
Triss Marigold was kind enough to compile a list of persons making up the secret society known as the Lodge of Sorceresses. Some Nilfgaardian sorceresses were members as well, but you need not be bothered with them, my lady.
Triss, you're mad!
The Lodge ordered Demaven killed. It ordered Foltest killed. I suspect you played a part in my father's death. And if I released you from the Dimeritium, you'd kill me too. You're finished, Eilhart. There will be a trial, due process, everything as it should be. But know that you shall not wriggle out of this. You shall be convicted of conspiracy, treason, and regicide. They'll rip your flesh from you in bits before they burn you at the stake. Throughout my childhood, I felt your cold stare on the back of my neck. When I issued orders, my subjects would search with their eyes for Philippa Eilhart's gesture of consent. The entire court at Tretogor looked on as you humiliated me. All Redania laughed behind my back. You taught me to look everyone in the eye. Forced them to lower their gaze, do you remember? A king must never show weakness, uncertainty, you said. I've mastered that skill. Yet there is one I could never force to submit. You've one chance to shorten your suffering. Admit to everything, here and now in the ambassador's presence. Look me in the eye and repent. Submit. As you wish. Torturer, put out those vile eyes.
You're making a grave error, sire.
We will talk again, witch.
The Philippa Eilhart problem.
Intruder! Get him!
For the Emperor!
You're not easy to find.
Look what they did to me. Radovid. To think I taught him magic tricks when he was just a boy. Free me, Geralt. I have to get out of here. Do you hear me? Help me!
You'll answer a few questions first. Was Shillard telling the truth about the Lodge, the assassinations?
He said exactly what Radovid wanted to hear. Half-truths, musings stripped of context, which differ very little from lies.
Did Triss take part in all this?
She's clean in those terms. Innocent as a child, but only to a point. I assure you, she has not been honest with you about many other matters.
Why did all this happen? Murdering monarchs, what interests did it serve? I can't fathom.
Help me get out of here and I'll explain all and lift the spell from Saskia. Take these shackles off me and lead me to my house. I beg you. I'll tell you everything. Everything.
I didn't track you alone. Yorvith can't wait to see you again.
My death would change little. Yorvith and all like him have no right to judge others.
How does the spell work?
Saskia's will and mine are one. She cannot resist me. But fear not. There's no suffering involved. She merely believes me to be the most wonderful person in the world. As if she were in love. You know what's most beautiful? In spite of all this, she seems unchanged. She's retained her charm, her valor, her honor.
Where's Saskia?
When I was arrested, she was with Sheila. They must be on their way to the deliberations by now.
Clock's ticking. Time is of the essence.
Why do you do this? Would you take vengeance on a blind woman?
Shillard said they've got Triss. I have to free her before they put out her eyes too.
Going to the Nilfgaardian camp is suicide.
And leaving a friend is villainy.
Only I know how to break the spell that holds Saskia. Get me out of here. If I die, she'll remain forever spellbound.
Saskia will remain an enslaved monster through your wickedness. You deserve to die.
Even if you reach Triss, you will not free her.
Sure I will. I'll trade Shillard for her.
And what will Yorvith say when he learns you abandon Saskia?
You worry about what he'll do to you. I doubt he'll see your blindness as sufficient punishment.
Do you think Marigold's innocent?
You have no right to judge her. Goodbye, Eilhart. Move your ass, Excellency.
This is preposterous. What do you aim to achieve?
I want to see Triss. How did you get in here?
Put that sword down.
Only after I cut your throat. The choice is yours.
I know of a tunnel.
Then you can be my guide.
It's the tunnel to the left.
You make an exceptional guide. Go.
Get
One
the
false
commander!
move and your ambassador will never see Nilfgaard's son again.
My men won't let you leave here alive.
They will if you ask them to, Excellency, and I believe you will.
Reynold Ep Madsen's orders come from the Emperor himself. He'd rather die than give you Marigold.
Then he'll die.
No, mark my words, you will. Unless you release me, it's not too late.
You're boring me. Pick up the pace.
Why do you care for that sorceress so much?
Out of the way, all of you, or the old man dies.
Hold there!
I'm not joking.
I know, and I advise you not to hesitate. Kill him, for we shan't move one bit.
Renwald!
He who brings me the Witcher's head will get the Order of Merit.
But Ambassador Fitz-Estelen...
Your Excellency. Orders from the capital.
Now I'll have to kill you all.
What are you waiting for? Get him!
For Nilfgaard! Die, Nordling!
The gate's closed. There must be another way in.
For Nilfgaard! For the Emperor! For the Emperor!
Did you really think you could just prance in here? Make the Emperor proud! Kill him!
Long live the Emperor!
The Imperial Army's ranks are endless!
Die, Nordling!
You're a stubborn beast, Nordling. Congratulations, Witcher. They were my best men.
Free Triss, or join them.
You amaze me. How can you risk your life for a witch?
She has information that's very important to me.
Ah, that I understand. You're exceptionally reasonable for an Earthling.
Thanks. It means a lot to hear you say that.
It should, because I in turn have information about her, which you may find interesting.
What are you talking about?
Your friend and the other witches conspired against your rulers.
How do you know that?
From the best possible source. She confessed.
And how did you convince her to do that?
By showing her the confessions of other lodge members.
I don't believe you.
That's irrelevant at this point. During our chat, my people managed to regroup, call for reinforcements.
Maybe now they'll start fighting like men.
Time to show you the Empire's true power. Surround him!
Long live the Emperor!
For Nilfgaard!
Shame to the Empire! Shield bearers, forward! Emperor, I failed you.
Geralt?
Didn't expect to see me.
Are you kidding? The only person you expect to see in a Nilfgaardian dungeon is the executioner.
Did they torture you?
They tried various things, but they got nothing from me.
I traveled half the world to find you.
I know it was hard on you. I'll never forget this, you hear? Never.
I'd slaughter half the Nilfgaardian army for a friend. I know you're a member of the Lodge, Triss.
How do you know of the Lodge?
Does it matter? I also know the Lodge was behind Demoven's assassination.
Geralt,
I trust you.
True. I'm a member of the Lodge. Just like 8 other sorceresses. But if you think I'm responsible for the Lodge's actions, you're badly mistaken. The Lodge is a theater for 2 actresses. Sheila and Philippa have long dominated it.
To the point where you didn't know about the murder they planned?
To the point where I was no longer invited to gatherings.
Why?
They stopped trusting me.
Because you didn't agree with them?
9 women very rarely agree on anything. The actual problem was that...
Tell me.
I was close to you. If Sheila fears anyone, it's Geralt of Rivia. The Lodge did everything to convince me that our relationship didn't bother them, even that it suited them. But they manipulated me. Through me, they fed you select information. Depending on the circumstances, they twisted facts.
We're still close. They could still be doing it.
Don't insult me.
Calm down, Triss. Reynold Ep Matson claimed otherwise, but I'll always take your word over that of some Nilfgaardian lowlifes. Now, you'll tell me everything you know. I need to learn the truth.
All existing councils of mages disintegrated after the Thanad massacre. We all acted separately. Philippa decided to create a new organization, a secret one this time. When I was sworn in, it never crossed my mind that the Lodge's plans would soon become secret to its members. As you know, Philippa's not one for minor undertakings. She presented a plan for creating a powerful state controlled by sorceresses.
No wonder the kings are opposing the sorceresses. Nobody likes a schemer.
Philippa and Sheila never lacked ideas or enthusiasm. To control a powerful state, they needed to create one first. Or find a wealthy land with a suitable political arrangement and an easily manipulated ruler. Sheila chose the Pontar Valley, Demavend, and Stennis.
I'd choose the same if I were her. Demavend didn't have a network of spies anywhere near as good as Henselt's or Radovid's.
Nor could he count on the loyalty of such men as our dear Vernon Roche. At one of our meetings, I just asked how they imagined overthrowing Demavend. That was the last time I was invited. After Demavend's death, I became suspicious but had no evidence. Philippa brushed me off. When you went off to meet Yorveth and Sheila was busy with the Karen's carcass, I managed to scan parts of her megascope. That's when I learned that Sheila had dealings with Letho.
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted to, but we never met after that. Letho must have shadowed me when I entered Sheila's room. Then he forced me to teleport us to somewhere near Vergen.
Did you talk to him?
He wasn't aggressive. In Vergen, he told me that Sheila commissioned them to assassinate Demavend. Them being the Witchers of the School of the Viper. Sheila helped them prepare the assassination.
I wonder why he told you about it.
Is that important?
Conspirators who suddenly divulge everything? I'd be suspicious.
There was some interference as we teleported to Edirn. I emerged intact, but pretty battered.
I met the troll who fell in love with you.
He saved me, tended to my wounds. But when he started treating me like a caged canary, I fled. I knew Philippa was in the area. I decided to go see her and lay my cards on the table.
Maybe Letho wanted just that.
I met a woman at Philippa's house. Thought she was just a servant or Philippa's lover. Before I could speak, I was overpowered by spells. I hardly expected an attack. The pain I felt as my body was compressed, it's indescribable. As if all my bones were being broken. It's even worse when you return to your true form. In any case, Philippa had no idea her lover was a Nilfgaardian spy. I was carried as that figurine all the way to Loch Muin. Asira decompressed me back just before they murdered her. Shillard interrogated me but learned nothing. If it wasn't for you, they'd have had me quartered. I didn't piece the puzzle together until I was here, in the dungeon. Now you know everything.
Did Saskia know the Lodge's plans?
She didn't even know the Lodge existed. Philippa told her that the sorceresses would support an independent state in the Pontar Valley, no strings attached. A fairy tale, but Saskia bought it. Saskia backed Philippa, and the people backed Saskia.
Philippa controlled Saskia with her spells.
Figures. The woman's a control freak.
She miscalculated by coming to Loch Muin. Radovid had her imprisoned and then blinded.
That's impossible.
I was there. Who had Foltest assassinated?
I have no idea. Perhaps after Demavend's successful assassination, Sheila and Philippa decided to take the next step.
That would be stupid. Killing Demavend was a way to take control of the Pontar Valley. People would forget the regicide in a year, and the Lodge could put its plan in motion. They had to know that if Foltest died, men like Roach wouldn't rest until they learned why that had happened.
One thing is certain. Letho killed Foltest, and Sheila was working with Letho.
Ever find out what Sheila was actually doing in Flotsam? I find it hard to believe she went there just to kill a monster and earn a few orans.
You're right, of course. It had something to do with Letho and the Scoia'tael.
What did she want from Yorvith?
The Scoia'tael were Saskia's trump card. I expect Sheila needed to know what the elves would do, given that a war with Hensel was practically inevitable.
That'll have to do for now.
We'll learn more at the talks.
You're going to attend?
You have no memory of how the world worked before the Thanid massacre.
Actually, I know exactly how it worked.
That means...
We'll talk about my memory later.
All right. If the Council and Conclave still existed, kings wouldn't be assassinated and massacres would be less frequent. This is our chance to restore these institutions, and we shouldn't miss it. Normalizing relations between the rulers and the mages who advise them is our only chance for peace.
And our only chance to dismantle the Lodge.
The Lodge will disintegrate anyway. Once the kings learn it was behind the assassinations, they'll start a witch hunt. We can prevent that from happening. I'm all for punishing the guilty, but can't abide collective responsibility. I'm ready to go and reveal everything I know about Philippa Eilhart, Sheila de Tanserville, and their schemes.
Let's go then.
Those Nilfgaardians, that's your work?
They followed their leader too blindly.
You killed them all.
They didn't slaughter themselves.
We shouldn't arrive at the same time. Let's split up.
Triss.
Yes?
That was some mess. I wouldn't want to see you hurt like that again.
Don't worry, I'll manage. See you at the talks.
All right.